Okay, welcome back everyone. Today's video is going to be all for the wine collectors, wine enthusiasts, those who have developed a more refined or more cultured love of wine and have entered into the more collection and investment space. We've come to find that your wine collection is an investment and we definitely feel you should protect it. So, a couple things I wanted to talk about today. As many wine lovers have become collecting from around the world, building cellars worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars or more. Now, while most of the spending is on the wine that is to be consumed within a couple weeks, so you have some parties coming up, some events, maybe some holiday gifts, things of that sort. Maybe you're going to be a part of a couple volunteer events in the community, things of that sort. Of course, having a glass of wine for dinner, obviously, that's a no-brainer. However, this boom actually has pulled many previously casual consumers of wine into serious interest in the beverage that has led to wine collections. So much so, I thought it was really notable to mention here that many Americans have joined clubs to receive allocations from California wineries. I was actually out with a good girlfriend of mine who lives in Orange County, and we went to this beautiful venue for dinner and to get some wine. And there was an actual wine. I don't know if it was a tasting room, I believe, because I believe it wasn't a full restaurant, but it was like a wine experience, is how I could describe it best, I feel, because it was just this beautiful experience. We walked in. I believe it was a tasting room. I guess that was I didn't really look at the name because I don't think the name was visible. It was really, really tiny on the marquee. But I remember going in and we ordered a couple rounds of flights as well as some beautiful charcuterie boards. And at the end, my friend ended up enrolling into their club, their program that they had, and she was to receive a few bottles of wine every month. And I forget which one she chose. But it was a great way for her to just to keep up with that experience because it was really, really lovely. And I'm sure, obviously, even from a networking standpoint as well, because they do invite special invite only events for members and such, those that are a part of the club. So she was also looking at it from that aspect too, because she was looking to, just get more into learning about wine and how to get a better handle on how to choose wine and stuff like that. So it was a really good thing that I was like, wow, this is amazing. I love this stuff. So this is one of the first touch points within myself personally that I saw how much wine is not just from a business standpoint, like from financials, like if you're looking to be an investor, but just like how much wine is growing in its enjoyment and how people are finding ways to connect and find other avenues for them to enjoy their wine. In fact, the data has revealed to us that in the last decade alone, we have seen a significant global wine boom. So how I spoke in the previous slide. And the stats have shown that in 2019, the US led the world with more than 49.5 billion of wine revenue generated, well ahead of the second in line, France, with its 28.1 billion in wine revenue generated. So I thought it was important to kind of segment countries here in terms of saying like Americans purchasing versus other countries that I believe have been probably more prominent or more notable in their their love of wine and the revenue that's generated. It's definitely become more of an uptick of for those of us in the US, and this number of 49.5 billion in wine revenue back in 2019, which is not that long ago, that speaks volumes. Now, these troves of wine don't only sit and collect dust. When properly stored and cared for, most bottles improve in complexity and beauty with age. For a noble subset, their market values improve too. In addition to the money being spent, procuring wine, maintaining optimal conditions for it, and waiting years or even decades to enjoy it constitutes a significant investment. And collectors should think like investors. And this is where we come in terms of understanding the value of your property, the value of your belongings, the value of these really labor. And now when I say labor, a labor of love, really, in terms of like the procurement of wine and, like I said, maintaining the optimal conditions for it, waiting years or even decades to enjoy it. All of that increases the significant investment, or constitutes a significant investment, and which is why you should be thinking like an investor if you are really starting to be in the wine industry, from turning from just a casual consumer to now thinking of like, I'm actually going to broaden my horizons and actually get serious about learning more of the ins and outs of the wine industry, or just wine in and of itself, and begin to collect them. So whether you're hoping to benefit from market price appreciation, or you just want to make sure you can have better experience than what can be sought at a wine store, you've tied up resources and gone to considerable effort to gain a long-term reward. So if you are no longer just purchasing a couple bottles of wine here and there for, dinner, friends coming over, to special events and whatnot, and you're looking at this from benefiting from a market price appreciation, or if you are just looking to have a better experience, either way, taking back up here into consideration again, maintaining optimal conditions for it, waiting years or even decades to enjoy it, you've tied up resources and have gone into a considerable effort to gain a long-term reward. And that is something that I want to drive a pen in here, because if you think about how much time, energy, and dedication, in addition to the financial investment, how much you are really pouring into this, if you're looking at this from an investment standpoint. So a couple things in terms of having things like insurance and how to better insulate yourself in the event of an unforeseen accident or incident. So wines can be difficult, or are difficult to insure, because they aren't only subject to the loss, theft, and other harms typical of valuables, they're also prone to unique perils like damage from too much or too little humidity, damage from heat or temperature fluctuation, harm from vibration or sunlight, bottle breakage, or leaking. So it's important to note here, in terms of your insurance contract, when you have a policy on your wine collection, if these kinds of harm are not named explicitly in your insurance contract, they are unlikely to be covered. So I kind of wanted to put this line in here just to ensure that for those of you who are looking to obtain an insurance policy for your wine collection, as you're starting it, you're growing it, you're maintaining it, you're going to add to it, you want to expand it, you have other wines that you're segmenting for your personal enjoyment, you have wine that you're putting away for the increase in the market value of it. So there's multiple ways of why you're using certain wine for a certain desired outcome, right? Either way, you just really want to make sure that the language in your insurance contract is in alignment with what can go wrong, so that way you don't have any issues later on down the line. So today there are better options for insurance, and specialized products can be tailored to any wine collector's needs. In general, it makes sense to have such a policy if your collection is valued at $85,000 or more. So if you are around this ballpark range, or you're looking to get into this range, this is where you're going to want to be in terms of looking at ensuring that your insurance policy has you covered. As an insured investor, if you ever do experience damage or loss, you'll have a hedge, and you'll receive a payout sufficient to recover and rebuild as much of your collection as possible. So it's very, very important to ensure that you are properly covered, because it is a very valuable asset, very valuable investment that you have been, how I said before, pouring a lot of love, energy, and time into. And you want to ensure that in the event, if you do experience a damage or a loss, you will be able to recoup as much of that as possible. So keeping all of this in mind, we do encourage you to have your wine collection professionally documented in order to ensure your hedge is properly protected in the event of an unplanned event or other accident, loss, or disaster. Because how we've always said, and we'll continue to say it, life happens, accidents and disasters can occur in the blink of an eye. Protect your assets and your property, because peace of mind is priceless. And so I do encourage you to Check out our next video up here to the left of you. And if you are interested in learning more, you can visit us online at videoassetandpropertydoc.com, as well as scan the QR code on your smartphone, and that'll take you straight away over to our website to learn more. And we would love to be able to set up a time to speak. You can fill out the intake form, and let's find out what your needs are and how we can ensure that your valuables and your investments and everything that you are pouring so much time, energy, and dedication, love, and finances into is properly protected and secure. And until next time.